What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of my R&B review. As you can hear in the background, I am finally going to talk about. This is Rick James' first album. Well, Rick James and the Stone City Band. Come Get It, released in 1978 on Gordy, which was under Motown Records. Yeah, man, I'm finally excited. We're going to talk about Rick James, the king of punk, funk, whoever you want to call him, the original Slick Rick. Yes, Rick James. Before he became a comedy phenomenon on Chappelle's Show, this dude laid out some of the baddest funk in like late 70s up to the mid 80s, to say the least. Influenced hella people and shit. A lot of people want to say, just want to talk about, street songs and this album to an extent, but I'm going to talk about this album all the way up to Wonderful and shit. But at the same time, if I do, because I know the Rick James albums are common from where I stay out, so if I see like Wonderful or The Flag or Cold Blooded in stores, I'm just going to pick it up and shit, because I already have all the other ones I didn't mention. But anyway, what you're listening to right now is the song Stone City Band High. For those of you who don't know who Rick James is, he is a funk singer, R&B singer from Buffalo, New York and shit like that. Let me see. His father, left his family and shit, and his mom was a dancer and shit, and then his mom introduced Rick James to like a lot of jazz performers and shit like that, like Etta James and Miles Davis and shit like that. Fast forward to 1965, he relocated to Toronto, where he joined a band with called the Mikas, the Minor Birds. And that band, ironically, it had Neil Young and Bruce Palmer. Yes, the same Neil Young, a part of Crosby, Stills and Nash, legendary folk musician. Yeah, that Neil Young. Buffalo Springfield fame. So they tried out for Motown, ironically, yeah. But Motown, they recorded an album for Motown, but Rick James, he got drafted in the Army and he had went AWOL, so Motown shelved the album. And between the late 60s up to maybe like the mid to late 70s, he was getting like failed breaks at a time and shit. Like one of his other brands called White King kind of fell through. Let me turn this down a little bit. Fell through, and a deal with A&M didn't really go too well and shit like that. So by the time 1977 happened, I believe what had happened was he had heard, I think it was Bootsy Collins or Parliament Funkadelic at the very least, and he liked what he heard, and he had written the song You and I, which I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the album. Alright, now that caught the attention of Suzanne DePaz, who you guys, if you guys are into Motown, you guys should know who Suzanne DePaz is and shit like that. So Suzanne DePaz told Berry Gordy, and Berry Gordy, he signed Rick James. And Rick James, he also, another interesting thing too about this album was the producer of this album. He produced the album with Art Stewart. And if you guys know who Art Stewart is too, he produced Marvin Gaye's song "Got to Give It Up" off the Live at the London Palladium album. Very dope album, very slept on if you ask me. So yeah, and he wasn't even like a very known producer at that time too. So that's very interesting and shit. I didn't really know Art Stewart produced "Got to Give It Up." Alright, this is the album right here. Very dope album cover. You guys have seen this picture of Rick James before. Yeah, so very dope female and shit. Got Rick James. Alright. So this album has 9 songs. Let's get started. Track number 1, the Stone City Band High. That's like an intro song. It kind of has this guy like announcing Rick James Stone City Band performing. It has this like them perform like an instrumental of some sorts. Very dope intro. Track number 2, You and I. Yes, this is a song that got him signed to Motown. Very dope song, very funky tune and shit. This song was actually written for his wife at the time, Kelly, and stuff. So, yeah, very cool. It has a lot of double entendres, which Rick James never really got the credit for when it came to like double entendres in his music and shit. So, yeah. Track number 3, Sexy Lady. Love this song. This is probably among my favorite songs off this album. Very dirty, funky tune and shit. Like, one thing I loved the intro, and I loved how the horns crept in the intro and shit like that. So, yeah. He has some very cool lyrics off this album. Let me pull them up. Okay, he says some shit like, now there's a girl that I know, how she loves to cop and blow. Whenever I'm around, well, she keeps me up well. Never down, y'all. She loves the lamps and to dance. And she says I'm treating romance just to pass the time, yeah. I love your body, no, love her mind, y'all. Like, very dope and shit. Give me 1 second. Excuse me, my throat was a little dry. Alright, and that was Sexy Lady. Track number 4, Dreammaker. That song was okay. It was a very slow, kind of doo-wop flavor song. It was okay. Track number 5, Be My Lady. That's a very cool, funky tune. Very enjoyable song. I love like the background vocals and the melodies. Yeah, Rick James definitely did his thing on that song. Track number 6, Mary Jane. Very famous song. You guys know the song. Everyone in the mom should know the song and stuff like that. Funny story about this song was like when Rick James recorded this song, he had basically tricked Motown into believing that this was a love song to a girl and shit, because they went into that kind of like culture and shit. They didn't know what Mary Jane meant. So yeah, it has been sampled a lot in hip hop. Everybody from what's his name, Dana Dane, I believe, of course Redman, of course, you know. Yeah, Mary Jane, very dope song. Every time I hear that song, I always think of Friday every time I hear that song. But that's another story for a different day. Track number 7, Hollywood. This is, again, another favorite song of mine. Maybe my favorite song off this album. It had like a very dark, kind of moody song where he's talking to his mom. It's like a letter to his mom saying, like, you know, I'm going off to Hollywood, I'm going to find my dream and shit like that, you know. And that's one thing about Rick James, though, you know. A lot of people always want to say, like, he's always the funky song, he's not really versatile, but he can really tell a good story once in a while in his music and shit. And I'm going to talk more about that when I talk about, what's the album? Cold Blooded, definitely. But yeah, very heartfelt song. You can really see the emotion, you know, just saying goodbye to his mom and shit. And yeah, very dope song. And track number 8, the Stone City Band Bye. That's like a little outro song. And that's it for this album. Overall, this is a classic album. This is one of my favorite R&B albums of like 1978, next to Marvin Gaye's "Hear My Dear" and maybe Funkadelic "One Nation Under Rule." Like it definitely has that dirty funk vibe with it and shit. To put it bluntly, this album saved Motown. Let's just put it that way, because I would say maybe after Songs in the Key of Life, Motown kind of went through like a dry period, because at that time disco was on the rise, and then in the R&B landscape, you had Earth, Wind and Fire, you had Kool and the Gang, and shit like that. And although they had like albums like, of course, Marvin Gaye's "Hear My Dear," we all know that wasn't a commercial success and shit. So Rick James came out, and this album went multi-platinum and shit, basically. So very, very dope album. Must have in your collection if you're a Rick James fan. This album is still in print and shit. I think they recently re-released this album in the late 2000s, but if you do, it's not that hard to find, basically. So I'm maybe gonna do Busting Out the 7-Eleven, possibly next week or the week after, one of them weeks. And just to let you guys know, speaking of cloud, we definitely have a lot of things planned this February and shit, so stay tuned on that. And tomorrow, me and Tribero, we're gonna review Tony's last album, House of Music. Very dope album. Hold on, getting way ahead of myself. Let me slow my roll right there. I'm possibly gonna review Tuesday. Actually, scratch that. I'm actually potentially gonna do the black actresses whose R&B albums are flops tomorrow, Monday at what time? Possibly Monday 11:30. I'm gonna do that because I know Tuesday, that's when that American Soul show is coming, and I wanna watch that show and shit. So I wanna have my attention on that one. So, and I'm maybe gonna do Paul's Boutique sometime later on next week. So that's another review. That's gonna be a long one. Stay tuned on that. As usual, it's your boy Reg. Peace.